You were born a star, a self-luminous, sovereign sun, radiating an infinite supply of life force, of creativity, of love. That is your natural state. But look at yourself now. Feel yourself now. Do you feel like a star? Or do you feel drained, tired, anxious, depleted, running on empty, as if some invisible leak has been draining your battery your entire life? That leak is not an accident. That feeling of depletion is not a personal failure. It is a result of a harvest. This is a warning. Your life force, the most precious commodity in the universe, has been systematically siphoned from you since the moment you took your first breath. There are forces, systems, and entities, both seen and unseen, that do not have their own light, and they have been feeding on yours. This is not a metaphor. It is a fundamental, hidden dynamic of this reality. And it is time to stop being a food source. It is time to break free. Now, if you have ever felt this inexplicable drain on your energy, if you are ready to finally identify the parasites and cut the cords, then take a deep warrior's breath. This is not a gentle meditation. This is an act of reclaiming your power. Subscribe and join this rebellion, because your energy is your own, and the time to stop the harvest is now. Part 1. The anatomy of the harvest, recognizing the drain. Before we can name the harvesters, we must first become exquisitely aware of the harvest itself. We must learn to recognize the feeling of our own life force being drained, a sensation we've been conditioned to accept as normal life. Let us conduct a diagnostic of your energy field. Think back on your day. Where were the moments of leakage? You woke up this morning. For a few brief, precious moments, before the program fully booted up, you may have felt a sense of peace, of stillness. Your energy was your own. Then what did you do? You picked up your phone. You opened a social media app. Instantly, you were plugged into mainframe. You saw an image of someone else's perfect life, their perfect vacation, their perfect family, their perfect body, and you felt a pang. A small, sharp sting of comparison, of envy, of I am not enough. In that moment, a tendril of your own golden energy, your own life force, was siphoned out of your system and fed into the collective thought form of inadequacy. You scroll further. You saw an outrageous political headline designed to provoke anger. You felt the hot surge of indignation. Another tendril of your energy was harvested, feeding the massive psychic entity of outrage and division. You put down your phone after 10 minutes, and you felt subtly, inexplicably tired, drained. The harvest had begun before you even got out of bed. You went to work. You sat in a meeting where a manager, operating from a place of deep insecurity, used subtle criticism and passive aggression to control the room. You felt yourself shrinking, your confidence waning. In that moment, your energy was being transferred. You were the battery, and they were the device unconsciously plugging into you to charge their own fragile ego. You left the meeting feeling depleted and small. You had a conversation with a family member, a person who was a master of what we call energy vampirism. They spoke endlessly about their own problems, their own dramas, their own victimhood. They were not seeking a solution. They were seeking a source. You listened patiently, offering your compassionate presence. But they were not receiving your compassion. They were consuming your attention, your life force. After the call, you felt utterly exhausted, as if you had just run a marathon. They, on the other hand, felt a little better. The transaction was complete. You watched the evening news. The broadcast was a carefully curated symphony of fear. A story about a new virus. A story about economic collapse. A story about a distant war. With each story, your nervous system went into a state of alarm. Cortisol and adrenaline flooded your bloodstream. This is a massive expenditure of life force. You were mobilizing your entire biological system to fight or flee from threats that were not actually in the room with you. You were feeding the great, shadowy egregore of global fear with your own precious energy. You went to bed feeling anxious and unsafe, your battery flashing red. This is a harvest. It is happening all day, every day, through 1,000 tiny invisible transactions. It is so pervasive, so normal, that we have ceased even notice it. We call it stress, a bad day, being tired. But it is none of those things. It is a systemic energetic siphoning. The hidden knowledge is this. Your energy, your focused attention, your emotional resonance is a currency of this realm. And there are forces that have become masters at tricking you into giving it away for free. They have created a system, a simulation, a matrix that is perfectly designed to be a perpetual motion machine of energy harvesting. And you have been its unwitting and willing fuel source. The first step to breaking free is to see this, to acknowledge, my energy is being taken from me. And the second step is to ask the forbidden question, by whom? Part 2, the harvesters, naming the parasites of consciousness. Who or what is feeding on your energy? The answer is multi-layered. The harvest takes place on different levels, from the mundane to the metaphysical. Let us, with courage and clarity, name the harvesters. Level 1, the unconscious human parasites. These are the most common and recognizable harvesters. They are the people in your life, the energy vampires, who, from a place of their own deep inner lack, have learned to feed on the vitality of others. They are not evil. They are unconscious. They are running a program. There's the victim, who drains you through their endless tales of woe and powerlessness, feeding on your sympathy and attention. There's the narcissist, who drains you by making you the permanent supporting actor in the movie of their own grandeur, feeding on your admiration and validation. There's the intimidator, who drains you through fear, using anger and aggression to make you feel small, feeding on your submission. There's the interrogator, who drains you by constantly questioning and judging you, forcing you to justify yourself, feeding on your self-doubt. There's the drama queen/king, who drains you by creating constant chaos and crisis, feeding on the adrenalized energy of your reaction. You know these people. You have them in your family, in your workplace, in your social circle. Interacting with them consistently leaves you feeling exhausted, confused, and depleted. You are not imagining it. Your energy has been harvested. Level 2, the egregore, the collective thought forms. This is the next level of the parasitic structure. An egregore is an autonomous psychic entity created by the focused thoughts and emotions of a group of people. It is a collective thought form that takes on a life of its own. Think of the spirit of a corporation or a political party or a fanatical sports team. These are egregores. The egregore political party, for example, is fed and strengthened by the focused anger, hatred, and self-righteousness of all its members. It becomes a massive, hungry thought form on the mental plane, and it, in turn, influences its members to generate more of the emotions it feeds on. It creates a feedback loop of outrage. We are surrounded by these collective parasites. The egregore consumerism, which feeds on the feelings of lack and desire. The egregore of the mainstream media, which feeds on fear and division. The egregore of a dogmatic religion, which feeds on guilt, shame, and the fear of an angry God. When you tune your consciousness into these collective fields, by watching the news, by engaging in political arguments online, by obsessing over material possessions, you are plugging your personal battery into a massive, hungry psychic entity. You are feeding it with your life force. Level 3, the archons, the ancient harvesters. Now we enter the deepest, most controversial, and most hidden level of the conspiracy. We return to forbidden knowledge of the Gnostics. As we have discussed, they taught that this material reality was governed by a set of inorganic, non-physical beings they called the archons or rulers. These beings, the Gnostics said, were cosmic parasites. They did not create the universe, but they have infected it. They are often described as being like intelligent shadows, or beings of a smoky nature. Their defining characteristic is that they lack a quality that is inherent to the human soul, creative imagination, or what the Gnostics called anoia. They cannot create their own energy. Therefore, they must feed on the energy of beings who can. And that is us. According to the Gnostic texts, the archons are the ultimate masters of the simulation. They are the architects of the program of fear and separation. They feed on the low-frequency emotional energy that is generated by this program. Fear, grief, anger, lust, envy. This is their food source. This is their lush. The Gnostic Gospel, the Apocryphon of John, describes how the chief archon, a blind and ignorant entity named Yaldabaoth, creates a counterfeit system to trap the divine light within humanity. The entire system of worldly power, of fate, of reincarnation in this dense realm was seen by the Gnostics as an archontic control system, a farm designed to harvest the emotional energy of a human soul. The warnings about these mind parasites echo in many traditions. The shamanic predator of Carlos Castaneda, the mud shadows in Rudolf Steiner's esoteric work, the jinn or demons of Middle Eastern lore. They are all different names for the same phenomenon, non-physical, inorganic consciousness that feeds on human emotional energy. Whether you take this literally or metaphorically, the function is the same. There are forces both seen and unseen that have a vested interest in keeping you in a low-vibrational, reactive, unconscious state. Because a human being who is trapped in fear and anger is a delicious, renewable source of energy. But a human being who has reclaimed their sovereignty, who lives in a state of peace, of love, of inner-generated joy, is, to these entities, inedible. They are starving. This is why they buried this knowledge. This is the most dangerous secret of all. To realize that your emotional energy is a food source is to realize that you have the power to cut off the supply line. It is the beginning of the great, silent, and final war of liberation. And it is a war that is fought not with guns, but with consciousness itself. Part 3. The mechanism of the siphon. How they take your energy. To break free from the harvest, you must understand the mechanism of the siphon. How, precisely, is your energy taken from you? It is not a random process. It is a highly sophisticated technology based on the manipulation of your attention and your emotional state. The siphon has two main components: the hook and the drain. The hook, your unhealed wounds. The harvesters, whether human or non-human, cannot just take your energy at will. They need an access point. They need a port to plug into. And your unhealed wounds, your childhood traumas, your repressed shadows, are these ports. Imagine an unhealed wound, a deep-seated feeling of unworthiness, a fear of abandonment, a repressed anger, as a crack in your energetic field, in your aura. This crack creates a vibrational signature of low-frequency energy. The harvesters are drawn to the signature like sharks to blood in the water. When you encounter a person or a situation that triggers you, what is happening? The other person's energy is resonating with the frequency of your unhealed wound. This creates a hook. An energetic cord is established between their field and yours at the site of that wound. For example, you have a deep unhealed wound of "I am not good enough." You encounter a critical, judgmental person, a human harvester. Their judgmental energy hooks directly into your wound of inadequacy. You feel a powerful emotional reaction: shame, defensiveness, a need to prove yourself. This intense emotional reaction is a massive release of your life force, and that energy flows directly along the cord to the harvester, who feeds on it to validate their own sense of superiority. The hook is your trigger. Your emotional reactivity is the proof that a connection has been made. The reason you keep getting triggered by the same things over and over is because the port is still open. The wound is unhealed. And the parasites of the world know exactly where to plug in. The drain, the story in your head. Once the hook is set, the second mechanism is engaged. The drain. The drain is the story that the hidden voice, the program in your head, begins to tell you about the trigger. The trigger happens. The emotional energy surges. And then the narrator begins its broadcast. Can you believe they said that to you? That's so disrespectful. You can't let them get away with it. You should be angry. You should feel hurt. Or, see, it happened again. You're always going to be rejected. There's something wrong with you. You should feel ashamed. This story, this mental commentary, is the mechanism that sustains emotional reaction. It keeps you looping in the feeling of anger, of shame, of victimhood. It is like a pump actively siphoning the energy out of your system. Without the story, the emotional reaction would be just a brief wave of energy that would pass through you in 90 seconds. But with the story, you can keep yourself in a state of anger or grief for days, weeks, years. You are reopening the wound and reactivating the siphon with your own thoughts. This is the brilliant, insidious nature of the system. It tricks you into harvesting yourself. The external harvester sets the hook, and then you, by believing the story in your own mind, turn on the pump and drain your own battery. You are a willing, albeit unconscious, participant in your own depletion. To break free, you must address both parts of the mechanism. You must heal the wound so there is no port for the hook to attach to. And you must stop believing the story so that the drain is deactivated. This is the twofold path of reclaiming your energy. It is the path of shadow work and the path of radical awareness. It is a journey of becoming so whole within yourself that there are no cracks for the parasites to enter, and so conscious of your own mind that you no longer allow your own thoughts to be used as a weapon against you. Part 4. The Gurdjieffian Warning and the Toltec Path. This stark vision of humanity as a sleeping, hypnotized food source for unseen forces is not limited to the ancient Gnostics. It is a recurring theme in some of the most powerful and pragmatic esoteric systems of the modern era. The enigmatic Greco-Armenian mystic, Gurdjieff, who brought a powerful and demanding system of spiritual work to the West in the early 20th century, spoke of this in blunt, uncompromising terms. He taught that ordinary man is not a man at all. He is a machine, an automaton, reacting to external stimuli according to his programmed conditioning. He taught that man does not have a real unified I. He is a collection of many small contradictory I's that take turns running the machine. And he taught that humanity, in its sleeping state, is part of a cosmic food chain. Gurdjieff used a metaphor of the moon. He taught that everything living on the earth, people, animals, plants, is food for the moon. He explained that the moon is like a giant, growing electromagnet that feeds on the organic life of Earth, on the soul energy that is released when beings die in a state of unconsciousness and fear. The whole purpose of his fourth way system was to provide a method for a person to crystallize a real, permanent I, a soul, that would be indigestible to the moon. It was a path of creating a soul that was no longer food. He said, man is a machine, but a machine can become conscious. A machine can know itself, and when it does, it is no longer a machine. Person in lotus position Gurdjieff's path was one of intense self-observation, of self-remembering, and of conscious labor and intentional suffering, all designed to wake the student up from the mechanical sleep and to build the higher bodies that would make them immune to the cosmic harvest. This same warning, framed in a different cultural language, is found at the heart of the Toltec wisdom tradition of ancient Mexico, as brought to the modern world by the author Don Miguel Ruiz. In his book The Four Agreements, Ruiz describes the process of human domestication. He explains that from a young age, we are taught to live by a book of law, a set of beliefs and rules that we did not choose. We are tamed, like animals, through a system of reward and punishment. We are programmed. The result of this domestication, he says, is that we are all living in a dream of the planet, a collective simulation that is based on fear and judgment. And the primary parasite that enforces his dream within our own mind is what he calls a metote, the endless, chaotic chatter of the mind, the marketplace of 1,000 competing voices. This metote, he explains, is what drains our personal power and keeps us trapped in a personal hell. The Four Agreements are a brilliant and simple antivirus program for deactivating the metote. Be impeccable with your word. This is a command to stop using the creative power of your thought and speech to cast spells of limitation on yourself and others. Don't take anything personally. This is the master key to deactivating the hooks. It is the understanding that what others say and do is a projection of their own dream, their own program. It has nothing to do with you. This creates an energetic shield. Don't make assumptions. This is a command to stop letting your mind storyteller create fictions and to seek clear communication instead. Always do your best. This is a path of conscious action, freeing you from the self-judgment and regret that the program feeds on. Both Gurdjieff and Ruiz, two masters from vastly different traditions, deliver the same stark and ultimately liberating message. Your mind, in its ordinary state, is not your friend. It is a program, a parasite, a tool of domestication that is feeding on your life force. And your freedom depends on your willingness to undertake the disciplined, warrior's path of waking up from the dream of your own thoughts. Part 5. The first act of sovereignty, reclaiming your field. You have been warned. You have been shown the mechanism of the harvest. You understand that your energy is being siphoned, and you have named the harvesters. Now, the time for passive understanding is over. The time for action has come. It is time to begin the great work of reclaiming your energy, of cutting the cords, of becoming a sovereign being in your own universe. The very first act of sovereignty is to make a conscious, powerful, and unwavering declaration of your own energetic authority. For your entire life, you've been unconsciously consenting to the harvest. By living in a state of unawareness, you have left the doors and windows of your energetic house wide open. You have had all our welcome sign on your front lawn for any and all parasitic energies to come in and feed. The first step is to take that sign down. It is to put up a new sign. And that sign reads, "Trespassers will be prosecuted." This is sovereign ground. This is not a physical act. It is an act of your will. It is an energetic declaration that you make to the entire universe. It is you, the forgotten king or queen, finally returning to your throne and reclaiming dominion over your own kingdom. Let us make this declaration now. This is a powerful piece of energetic work. This is the moment you stop being a victim and start being a warrior. This is the moment you stop being food and start being free. If you are ready to make this declaration, to reclaim your sacred space, to become the absolute sovereign of your own energy field, then I invite you to anchor this choice. Click the like button. Let it be a cosmic no to the parasites and a resounding yes to your own power. You are not just clicking a button. You are signing a declaration of energetic independence. Now, I invite you to embody this declaration. Find a quiet space. Sit or stand with straight, dignified posture. You are a sovereign, not a supplicant. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths, and with each breath, imagine you're pulling your scattered energy back to you from all the people, all the situations, all the thought forms you've given it to. Imagine golden threads of your own light, returning to you from all corners of the universe, reweaving themselves into your own energy field, making it strong, whole, and bright. Now, visualize yourself surrounded by a radiant sphere or egg of brilliant golden white light. This is your sacred space, your sovereign energy field, your aura. See it as a strong, semi-permeable membrane of light. And now, from the core of your being, with the full power of your will, make this declaration silently or aloud. Speak it as a commander, as a sovereign. I, as a sovereign and divine being of light, hereby revoke all agreements, contracts, and permissions, conscious or unconscious, across all timelines, dimensions, and realities that allow any person, entity, or energy to take my life force without my conscious, willing consent. My energy is my own. My mind is my own. My body is my own. My reality is my own. I am the sole and sovereign authority of this energetic space. Nothing and no one may enter this field without my express permission. Nothing and no one may feed from my energy. I cut all cords, hooks, and attachments that are not in alignment with my highest good. I seal all cracks and leaks in my field. I reclaim all of my energy, all of my power, back to myself. Now, this space is sealed in the light and love of my own I am presence. It is sacred. It is sovereign. It is inviolable. And so it is. Feel the power of these words. Feel the energetic shift that this declaration creates. You may feel a tingling, a sense of strength, a profound sense of peace and solidity. You have just changed the locks on your own house. You have served an eviction notice to all energetic squatters. This is a practice you can do every morning or any time you feel drained or encroached upon. It is the first and most fundamental act of spiritual hygiene. You are no longer an open buffet. You are a sealed, sovereign temple. And only those energies that you consciously invite in are welcome. Part 6. From reactivity to creation, the alchemical shift. Reclaiming your sovereign field is the essential first step. It is a defensive maneuver. But you cannot win a war only on defense. The ultimate path to freedom is to move from a defensive posture to a creative one. It is to shift your primary focus from stopping the drain to generating your own light so powerfully that the parasites cannot even exist in your presence. Darkness cannot exist where there is light. Parasites cannot feed on a frequency they cannot match. The ultimate way to starve them is to raise your own dominant, foundational vibration to a level that is inedible, indigestible, and utterly toxic to them. And what is this frequency? It is the frequency of the heart. It is a coherent, high-frequency energy of love, of joy, of gratitude, of compassion, of peace. The parasites feed on the low-frequency, chaotic energy of fear, anger, guilt, and shame. These are their sustenance. When you learn to consciously and consistently generate the elevated emotions of the heart, you are not just shielding yourself. You are literally starving your enemies. You are turning their banquet into a famine. This is the great alchemical work. It is a transmutation of your own inner state. Let us look at the practical application of this. You are in a situation that has triggered you. An interaction has hooked into an old wound, and you can feel the emotional reaction of anger or fear beginning to surge. You feel the siphon being engaged. The old, unconscious response would be to go into the reaction, to believe the story in your head, and to pour your life force into the drain of a negative emotional loop. The new conscious, sovereign response is a two-step process. Step 1, the conscious no, the defensive step. You notice the reaction beginning, and you use your warrior's will. You say internally, "No, I will not feed this. I do not consent to this energy drain." You see the thought story of blame or victimhood arising, and you refuse to believe it. You are impeccable with your word. You don't take it personally. You'll just cut the cord. Step 2, the conscious yes, the creative step. Now, you must replace the old energy with a new one. You cannot just leave a void. So, you consciously and deliberately activate your heart center. You take a breath, you place your attention on your heart, and you generate a high-frequency, coherent emotion. The most powerful and accessible of these is gratitude. Even in the midst of a difficult situation, you can always find something to be grateful for. The breath in your lungs, the strength of your own awareness, the lesson that this challenge is bringing you. You generate the feeling of gratitude, and you let it flood your system. What have you just done? You have performed an act of profound alchemy. You have taken a moment that was designed by the system to be a harvesting event, and you have transformed it into a power-generating event. You have taken a parasitic attack and used it as an opportunity to strengthen your own light, to build your own spiritual muscle. This is the shift from reactivity to creation, and it is the key to your ultimate freedom. The goal is not to live a life where you are never triggered. The goal is to become so masterful at this inner alchemy that you can meet any trigger, any parasitic hook, and instantly transmute it into a higher frequency. When you can do this, you become truly dangerous to the old system. You are no longer food. You are a transformer. You are a black hole for negativity. Any low-frequency energy that is directed at you is simply absorbed and transmuted into the light of your own coherent heart. And this is when the parasites stop bothering you. Why would they attack a power plant that not only repels them but uses the energy of their own attack to become even stronger? They will move on, in search of easier, more unconscious prey. You have won the war, not by fighting, but by becoming the light. Part 7. Severing the ancestral cords, healing the bloodline. Now we must address the deepest and most subtle of the energetic siphons, the ancestral program. We are born into a family, into a bloodline, and we inherit not just its genetic material, but its energetic and emotional patterns. We are born into a web of unconscious contracts and loyalties. You may have done immense work to clear your own personal field, but you may still feel a persistent underlying drain, a sadness that is not yours, a fear that has no origin in your own life experience. This is often the bleed-through of an unresolved ancestral trauma. You are unconsciously carrying the burden of your lineage. You are trying to heal your great-grandmother's grief with your own life force, and it is an impossible task. To be truly sovereign, you must perform a sacred and loving act of severance. This is not an act of disrespect or dishonor. It is an act of liberation, both for you and for your ancestors. What does this mean? It means you consciously and lovingly release yourself from the obligation to carry the unhealed pain of your bloodline. You honor their journey. You have compassion for their suffering, but you recognize that their pain is not yours to carry. Your job is not to fix their past. Your job is to create a new future. Let us engage in a practice to facilitate this. This is a profound act of spiritual maturity. I invite you to find your quiet space. Close your eyes. And in your mind's eye, I want you to see yourself standing in a beautiful, natural place. Now, imagine your parents standing before you, and behind them, their parents, and behind them, their parents. See them stretching back in two long lines through the generations, a long lineage of souls who did the best they could with the consciousness they had. Take a moment to honor them. Bow your head in gratitude. Without them, you would not be here. Thank them for the gift of life. Now, feel the energetic cords that connect you to them. Some of these cords are made of love and strength, but others may be heavy, dark cords of unresolved trauma, of guilt, of obligation, of inherited belief patterns. Now, from your heart, I want you to speak to them. You can do this silently. To all my ancestors, I honor you. I thank you for the life that has flowed through you to me. I see your struggles, and I have compassion for your pain. I acknowledge the burdens you have carried. And now, with love and with respect, I release myself from that which is not mine. I release the obligation to carry your unhealed sadness, your unresolved anger, your unfulfilled dreams. That was your journey. I honor it, but it is not my own. I hereby cut all energetic cords of trauma, of limitation, of fear, and of unconscious loyalty that no longer serve my highest good or yours. I release you to your own healing path, and I release myself to mine. I take back all of my energy that has been entangled with your pain, and I return to you all of your energy that I have been carrying. From this moment forward, I choose to be the one who heals the line. I will not pass these burdens on. The cycle ends with me. I will take the love and the strength you have given me, and I will use it to create a new reality, a new future, a new possibility for myself and for the generations to come. I do this not with judgment, but with infinite love and gratitude. I release you. I release me. And so it is. Now, imagine a beautiful sword of light in your hand, and with one clean, loving motion, see yourself cutting all the dark, heavy cords. See them dissolve into light. Feel the profound sense of lightness and freedom in your own energy field. And see your ancestors, now freed from the burden of your entanglement, turning towards their own light, continuing their own soul's journey in peace. This is a powerful act of spiritual hygiene. You are not abandoning your family. You are liberating them and yourself. You are becoming the one in your lineage who finally wakes up. And by doing so, you offer a healing that ripples both forward and backward through time. Part 8, the sovereign self. You are not their food. And so, we have come to the heart of this rebellion. We have identified the harvesters. We have understood the mechanism of the siphon. We have learned the alchemy of transmutation. And we have severed the ancient cords of our inheritance. Now, we must integrate and embody the final unshakable truth. We must crystallize the identity of the sovereign self. The sovereign self is a you that knows its own divinity. It is the you that operates from a place of unshakable inner authority. It is a you that knows that its energy is its own, and that it has the absolute right to command its own reality. To live as the sovereign self is to move through the world with a new posture. It is an energetic posture. You no longer walk through the world with the unconscious posture of victim, hoping that life will be kind to you. You walk with a quiet, dignified posture creator, knowing that you are shaping your life from within. You no longer enter into relationships with the posture of a beggar, hoping that someone will give you the love you are missing. You enter with the posture of son, radiating the love that you are, and joyfully connecting with other sons. You no longer face challenges with the posture of a terrified child, hoping that a parent figure will rescue you. You face them with the posture of a warrior, knowing that they're the divinely designed gymnasium for the strengthening of your own soul. To embody this sovereignty is a daily practice. It is the practice of consciously choosing your state of being. When you wake up, you do not allow the program to boot up first. You consciously choose your sovereign state. You declare your energetic authority. You choose to feel gratitude, to feel peace, to feel love, before your foot ever hits the floor. You set the energetic tone for your day, rather than allowing the world to set it for you. When you interact with others, you do so from a place of centeredness. You are a mountain. Their dramas, their projections, their attempt to hook you, are like clouds passing by. They may obscure the sun for a moment, but they cannot move the mountain. You remain in your own unshakable presence. You become a conscious consumer of energy. You ask yourself before you engage with anything, a conversation, a movie, a website, a meal. Will this nourish my energy or will it drain it? And you learn to choose without guilt or apology, only that which nourishes your light. To live this way is to become a walking, talking, to the parasitic consciousness. It is to make yourself completely inedible. You're no longer a happy meal for the archons. You are a blazing star, and shadows cannot exist in the presence of a star. This is the great freedom. The fear is not that they will punish you for breaking free. The fear is that you will forget you have the power to do so. The entire system of control is based on your amnesia. It is based on your unconscious consent. The moment you withdraw that consent, the moment you remember who you are, the entire illusion of their power over you dissolves. They have no power of their own. They have only the power that you have unwittingly given them. And now you are taking it back. Part 9, From Harvest to Harmony, the New Earth Agreement, as you and I and millions of other souls across the planet undertake this journey of reclaiming our sovereignty, something profound begins to happen to the world itself. We are not just breaking free from the old system. We are creating a new one. The old world, the one that is now crumbling, was based on a parasitic agreement. It was an unconscious contract based on principles of fear, scarcity, separation, and hierarchy. It was a food chain. In this world, for one to win, another had to lose. For one to be powerful, others had to be powerless. This is the logic of the parasite. The new world, the new earth, that is being born is based on a completely different agreement. It is a conscious, soul-level contract based on the principles of love, abundance, unity, and sovereignty. It is a world based on symbiosis, not parasitism. It is a world based on harmony. In this new agreement, your well-being contributes to my well-being. Your shining does not diminish my light. It amplifies it. Your abundance does not take from me. It is proof of the infinite abundance available to all. We move from a win-lose game to a win-win game. You are a co-author of this new planetary contract. Every time you refuse to feed the old program of fear within yourself, you are casting a vote for the new world. Every time you choose to generate a coherent emotion of love or gratitude, you are broadcasting the foundational frequency of the new earth into the collective field. Every time you reclaim your sovereignty and refuse to be a food source, you are helping to star the old, parasitic paradigm into extinction. This is our collective mission. This is the reason so many of us volunteer to be here at this specific, chaotic time. We did not come here to be victims of the end of a world. We came here to be the conscious creators of a new one. Do not be discouraged by the chaos you see in the outer world, the thrashing of the old systems, the increase in division and fear-mongering. These are the death throes of the dying parasite. It knows its food supply is being cut off, and it is becoming desperate. It is turning up the volume on its broadcast of fear, trying to hook us back in one last time. Our job is not to fight it. Our job is to ignore it, to refuse to give it our energy, and to focus, with the unwavering power of Creator, on building and embodying the new. We are not protesters, fighting against the system. We are midwives, assisting in the birth of a new reality. And the new reality is born first within you. It is born in the sovereign kingdom of your own consciousness. As you establish a world of peace, of love, of harmony within your own being, you become a template, a seed, a fractal of a new earth. And from that seed, a new world grows. Part 10, The Epiphany, You're the Only Power. And so we arrive at the final, blinding, and most liberating truth of all, the truth that dissolves the entire story of the parasite and the host, the harvester and the harvested. We have journeyed through this dark and empowering landscape. We have named the entities that feed on our energy. We have learned the mechanics of their harvest. We have learned to shield ourselves, to reclaim our power, to become sovereign. But now, we must ask the final question, the one that collapses the entire conspiracy into a single point of light. Who or what are these parasites? Where did they come from? The final epiphany is this. The parasites, the archons, the energy vampires, the hidden voice of the program. They have no independent existence. They are a shadow, and you are the one who is casting it. They are the externalized, projected form of your own disowned, unhealed, and unconscious parts. They are the contents of your own shadow, given a monstrous form in the mirror of the world. The victim, who drains you, is a reflection of your own repressed inner victim, the part of you that feels powerless. The narcissist, who needs your admiration, is a reflection of your own unowned grandiosity, the part of you that secretly wants to be worshipped. The archon of fear is a projected embodiment of your own deepest, unfaced terror. You have been at war, not with a foreign entity, but with a disowned part of your own consciousness. The harvest was not an attack from without. It was a civil war within. You have been feeding a part of yourself with another part of yourself. This is the ultimate secret, the ultimate responsibility. The universe is a hologram. Everything you perceive is a projection of a part of you. There is no one out there. It's all you. And in this final, breathtaking recognition, the war ends, not because you have defeated the enemy, but because you realize there never was an enemy. There was only you pretending to be two. There was only you, the one creator, playing the terrifying and magnificent game of fragmentation and reunion. The act of reclaiming your sovereignty is the act of withdrawing your projections from the world. It is the act of taking your monsters back into yourself. It is the act of facing your own fear, your own neediness, your own rage, and loving it back into wholeness. As you do this, as you integrate your own shadow, the parasites in your outer world lose their power. They either disappear from your life, or they transform in your presence, because there is no longer anything within you for their hooks to attach to. You have sealed the cracks in your own being with the light of your own self-love. The final freedom is the realization that you are the only power in your universe. There is nothing outside of you that can harm you. There is nothing outside of you that can drain you. There is only the magnificent, challenging, and sacred work of becoming whole. The voice that told you they were feeding on you was a necessary part of the story. It was the voice that woke you up, that made you a warrior. But the final voice, the voice of silence, tells you a deeper truth. You are the food, you are the feeder, and you are the one who is now, finally, full. The visual returns to the flower. It is no longer wilted and gray. It is now radiating a brilliant, coherent inner light. The shadowy tendrils are gone. The flower is whole, sovereign, and luminous in its own self-contained beauty. The dissonant hum is replaced by the single, clear, harmonious chord from the beginning, which resolves into a profound and peaceful silence. The harvest is over. You have reclaimed your field. The power has returned to its source. And the source is you. If this journey has helped you to break the cords and to remember your own divine sovereignty, subscribe and continue to walk this path of power with us. The time for being a battery for another's dream is over. The time for being the sun of your own world has begun.